Well, the injectors are still not here, despite having supposed to have been here 3 or 4 days ago now at this point. So I'm getting a little annoyed. However, I thought I might as well get kind of a jump start on the project, so when the injectors do arrive, I can just go ahead and toss them right in. So I'm going to start taking off each one of these individual little rails. The battery is unplugged, which is always a good idea. The negative terminal has been unplugged for half an hour or so, and the car's been sitting cold. So there may be a little bit of pressure still built up in the lines, but we'll stick a rag under there and keep them covered up and make sure we don't spray everywhere. It's a 14 millimeter, by the way. You should be able to get to all of them with just a standard 14 millimeter wrench. You can use one of the line wrenches if you want, but this should grip it. They're not super tight, so. No spray at all on that one. So then I'm just going to lay them out left to right, 1 through 6. That way we keep them in order, and it'll just be easy to take them and plop them back on the new ones. Finally, my injectors are here, and it took forever. So I'm going to open them, make sure they're not all messed up. Now, I did get these purchased these remanufactured. So, and I don't mind how they're wrapped. I actually took care to wrap them up. Good reviews. A little disappointed because I don't actually think they sent them out when they should have been sent out, and they kind of tried to blame USPS. However, when it did finally go through the Postal Service in California, it was still late. The decoupler rings installed, but they did say that they had the plastic, supposedly new seals. They do appear to be new, but they don't have the little plastic sleeve on them, so that does concern me a little. But I can do the old pen cap trip just to make sure. I mean, they're fit on there pretty tight, but they're supposed to sort of expand. And anyway, so I popped the first one out. This one just came out just by hand, just pulled it right out. So hopefully the rest of them are that simple. I didn't purchase the tool. I have the little pick, so I was gonna grab a hold of this portion or this portion and try to pop them out, but I didn't need to. Pulled right out. And you can see this little slot right here. When you put them back in, that little slot right there, it'll focus. That's how you line this little tab up. That way you make sure you know that, so you can almost see it. That little tab right there below my thumb goes into that little slot right there on the bottom side. Helps you make sure that this is lined up completely and straight. Little pen cap trick for the new ones, just making sure that plastic gasket or ring, whatever you want to call it, seal, is compressed so it has the ability to expand once it's down inside. And also we replaced the decoupler rings. It doesn't come with these, so I got these new ones. I'll put links in the description. Pop this off, move the cap over to the next one, and we'll stick this in. By the time this is in, we'll get the number 2 in. Number 2, I already wiped it off, but number 2 was very wet and gross looking, so I have a feeling this one was causing an issue too. And 4 were pretty nasty as well. No wonder this thing was idling a little rough. I'm surprised it ran as well as it did, actually. So these all popped out by hand relatively easily. Number 5 was a bit more difficult. Based on some of the looks of the injectors, is that they're obviously leaking. They're obviously an issue. We're probably going to need a new PCV valve, and catch cans, or a catch can wouldn't be a bad idea. Luckily, I have both ready to go. Because you have to take out this back little fuel rail to get to the PCV valve. I'm going to do that right now too. So this just comes out with a 13 millimeter wrench. Be careful, they like to break. So if it doesn't come off, just use a little bit of caution if you're struggling. But be real careful putting it back on to not over tighten it, because these little housings break. So here's the old PCV valve, here's the new. Just kind of drops right into this little guy like this. Bing! Sometimes a little O-ring won't come out with it, so it did not for me either. So I just hooked it with my finger, pulled it out, and we'll slide it on here to make sure it seats up properly. They do make metal ones of these also, if you want to upgrade. I believe they're aluminum. This one didn't feel too brittle, so again, don't need it super tight. That's about it. All right, all the injectors in. We left the rails loose just so they could flex a bit as we tightened these brackets down. Tighten this side first. They're all started, obviously, but I tighten these first, and then we move to the main supply rail. And you want to back these up too, because you are getting them pretty tight. You don't want to be wrenching on your injectors too much. All right, they are all in, tightened down. Plugs plugged back in. Just make sure everything's secure, tight. Didn't miss one or two. And now they have to be coded to the vehicle. And beforehand, we were sure to write down all of the numbers. If you're not familiar, these are the digits you want to write down. These, of course, are the old Index 1 injectors, but 58222, that would have been cylinder number 1. In this case, the new one is 579232. So we'll use the Pro Tool and get these all coated. But the car will run now. You just want to make sure it's coated to the car. That way it ensures proper spray and everything is recorded in the computer. All right, let's see what happens. It might be a little difficult start because it's got to build pressure back up in the fuel rails, but we'll see what happens. Crazy noise, to be honest. It's insane. Still got the check engine light. We'll clear that. I think we just need a crazy, no leaks or anything. I just checked under the hood, but I think I need an oil change just real bad. There are a bunch of good videos out there. Vehicular DIY, this is a great one on how to change the injectors in your N54. So again, it's not my intention to do a bunch of how-to videos, but I thought I'd walk through a couple of steps, and I know I didn't take a video of everything, but I really didn't run into too many issues with this. I hope these remanufactured injectors are going to be sufficient. I guess we'll find out. As you saw when I started the car up, there's still a little bit, again, it hasn't been running for a while, so it's difficult to determine, but we'll get the car situated. I got to get the oil changed, and I think that's going to help. I think I am hearing a little bit of lifter tick, and that happens if the oil is bad, low quality, old, it needs to be changed, potentially thinned out by fuel. So we'll get some liquid moly in there, and we'll get this thing set up, and that way we'll be able to eliminate all of the potential issues. But speaking of that, I think because the vehicle's been running with these leaking injectors, even though I've just been idling it or I've taken it around the block a couple of times, I think we may have fouled out the plugs. They were a little black when I pulled them, and they did smell a little bit like fuel. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and order another set of plugs. I may just go with, factory spec plugs, or if I can find a one-step colder plug, I'll probably do that. But nonetheless, we got to get some fresh plugs in there. So I think we'll be all set. Good stuff coming, some other parts to install as you saw, so stick around for more 335i videos. Appreciate it very much. Again, pretty easy project to do. Changing out the injectors is one good thing. They're relatively easily accessible. Oh, God, I'm rambling. It is late. Sorry guys, but thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stick around for more Q50 335i videos. See you in the next one.